Story appears ordinary till you see the core side of it.
And what you're looking for is the story behind the news.
We bring it to you from Lagos, the commercial capital of Nigeria.
Giving you all sides and political stories round the clock.
Every detail from the start line to the final whistle.
CoreTV News, expanding your view.
Thank you for joining us on CoreTV News on the hour. I am Frank Omalape, and here are some of the stories coming in at this time. The October 11 governorship by-election in Adamawa State has been cancelled following a federal high court judgment that Bala Ngilari, deputy governor to impeach Governor Murtala Nyako, be sworn in as governor. Ngilari has faulted his earlier resignation and asked the courts to declare it null and void. Our correspondent Martins Dixon has details.
It was unexpected, but news started to spread in Yola, the Adamawa State capital, before noon on Wednesday, the 8th of October. When it was finally confirmed, the ESCO chambers of the Dogire Government House was set for the swearing-in ceremony of former Deputy Governor Bala Ngilari. Supporters of Ngilari trooped into the Government House to witness the ceremony. As soon as he arrived at the chambers, the president of the customary Court of Appeal took charge of the function.
I, do solemnly, Bala James Ngilari, do solemnly swear
that I will be faithful,
and
bear true allegiance to the Federal Republic of Nigeria,
and bear true allegiance to the Federal Republic of Nigeria,
and that I will
preserve, protect,
and defend the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
And defend the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So help me God.
After the ceremony, Ngilari delivered his first official speech as governor of Adamawa State, in which he extended the hand of fellowship to all arms of government and the general public.
Today, by divine providence, is the beginning of a new dawn in the history of our state. The events of the past few months culminating in the ceremony we have just witnessed could not have happened without the full knowledge of God Almighty. Suffice it to say that as people of faith, we acknowledge the divine power of God in all that happens. The holy books of both religions subscribe to the fact that power belongs to God, and He gives it in trust to whosoever He wills. It is in solemn acknowledgement of this trust that I humbly address you this afternoon in my position as the Governor of Adamawa State. I pledge to run an open government, transparent and an all-inclusive one that will give hope to our women, the aged, and guarantee the future of our youth.
The ESCO chambers was full to the brim. In what looks like his first political appointment, Ngilari appointed Muhammad Chibadu as his chief of staff.
My chief of staff shall be Chibadu Tijani.
Supporters of the governor present at the swearing-in cut across party lines. Many hope that it forms the unifying point of the people of Adamawa State as Ngilari starts a new chapter in the leadership of the state. Martins Dixon, CoreTV News, Yola.
Very interesting story and a peaceful, joyful moment for Ngilari there. A federal high court in Abuja has stopped the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, from going ahead with a Saturday's governorship by-election in Adamawa State. It also ordered Murtala Nyako's deputy Bala Ngilari to be sworn in immediately to complete his principal's tenure. Justice Adeni Ademola ruled that the purported resignation letter Ngilari submitted to the House of Assembly was null and void because as at the time he sent in the letter, Nyako was still the governor. The judge cited Section 306, subsection 1 to 5 of the Constitution to back a ruling that was held by Defense Counsel Festus Keyamo.
This is a great day for constitutionalism in Nigeria. When we started this battle, some people thought it was a joke. And we made the point that a deputy governor can only resign his office by handing over his letter of resignation to the governor. He cannot resign by handing over the letter of resignation to the Speaker of the House, which happened in this case. And in this case, even a purported letter written to the governor came to court, Nyako, and said, I did not receive any letter of resignation from my deputy. And Section 306 is very clear on the point that unless you hand over a letter of resignation to the governor, it does not take any effect. So at the time that Nyako was purportedly impeached, there was a deputy governor in place to be sworn in as governor. What you had was a constitutional coup. It was a civilian coup that took place, that a speaker connived with everybody, removed his two bosses in front of him and took over government of a state, and subsequently even took on the ticket to contest the election. It was a constitutional coup. And the court is here to rectify such unconstitutionalism, and that is what the court has done today. And I tell you, by the grace of God today, Barrister Balayi Ngilari is the governor of Adamawa State from this minute now. He's the governor of Adamawa State. And the tenure of Fintiri, the acting governor, expires next week. So they should not impose a constitutional crisis in Adamawa State. They must swear in Ngilari immediately as governor, because Fintiri, the acting governor, cannot spend one day beyond the 3 months given to him by the constitutional acting governor. And IDEC has been stopped from conducting elections there on Saturday. So Ngilari must be sworn in immediately today as governor of Adamawa State. There is no two ways out of it.
Before Balayi Ngilari was sworn in, the Attorney General of the Federation, Mohammed Adoke, had directed the Chief Judge of Adamawa State to take necessary steps to avert a constitutional crisis. This, according to the Attorney General, is in line with the court ruling, which removed acting Governor Usman Fintiri from office, and regardless of plans to appeal the ruling. Adoke told State House correspondents that he has also written the Independent National Electoral Commission on the court verdict.
And that the former deputy governor be sworn in as the governor in compliance with the judgment of the court. I've also caused that a letter be written to the INEC in my capacity as the chief law officer pursuant to section 150 of the Constitution, directing that all arrangements for the election on Saturday be put on hold in compliance with the judgment of the court. And of course, this is without prejudice to whatever step the acting governor would want to take, but we have to comply with the judgment and avoid a constitutional crisis.
Meanwhile, the Independent National Electoral Commission has called off a consultative stakeholders meeting earlier scheduled to commence Wednesday ahead the October 11 governorship by-election in Adamawa State. This followed a High Court ruling which stopped the by-election and ordered the immediate inauguration of a former deputy governor of the state. The consultative meeting with stakeholders was scheduled by ANEC to find out ways of conducting the election in the face of security challenges in the state. CoreTV News learned that all heads of security agencies, including the Inspector General, Police, and Department of State Security, were already present before the development. Now, in a separate reactions to the development in Adamawa State, 2 Lagos-based legal practitioners, Uche Nabani and Fred Agbaje, examined the court's ruling against the backdrop of the complex political situation in the state. They also reeled out the implications of the ruling for the polity and admonished politicians not to play games with the issue.
If you had resigned, you owe it to yourself and even to the integrity of your children to go away, because the election is just by the corner. You go and recontest and test your popularity. If you indeed he resigned under duress, well, I think the court has given him some reprieve. But then it's left for the other party to appeal the matter. I think they can go on appeal and test the judgment. That's it.
As a lawyer, and based on the facts on the ground, Ngilari is today, judicially speaking, constitutionally speaking, legally speaking, factually speaking, is the authentic governor of Adamawa State. Any imposter parading himself as future governor and inclusive of INEC, they should draw their children's hand back now. They should go back and begin to learn the rudiment. INEC and the political party that are sponsoring them, they should go back and read the norms and laws of the Constitution in and out.
We'll take a break on CoreTV News on the hour now, and we'll be back shortly with more stories. Stay with us.
Der Torschütze zum zwischenzeitlichen 1:1. Semenike schickt Musa, da ist Ahmed Musa! Und da ist der Ausgleich!
It's a beautiful Saturday evening in the city of Lagos.
Off the turn, Phelps had it, but then Matsui kept going.
Finals. 5 to shoot. Leonard does.
And of course, making a difference for all of us here from all our production crew. Thanks for watching that show.
Glad to have you back on CoreTV News on the hour. The Labour Party in Ogun State has described as good riddance the defection of the Ogun State Governor Olusegun Mimiko and the alleged defection of the former governor of Ogun State, Gbenga Daniel, to the PDP. We'll bring you details later in our bulletins. Moving away from that now, former military head of state Abdulsalami Abubakar has described the level of insecurity in the country as all-time low. Speaking in Ekiti State, Abubakar, however, appeals to members of Boko Haram to shift their words as he advised politicians not to heat up the polity, particularly as the 2015 general election draws near. Our correspondent Rashid tells us more.
Having carved a niche for himself in the nation's political landscape and the international community for relinquishing part of the civilians in 1999, Abubakar automatically became one of Nigeria's revered figures. Abubakar, who had seen it all as military officer, expresses dismay at the state of security in the country.
As someone who has watched our country triumph over a civil war and several other crises, and I had the privilege of supervising our country's return to democracy, I'm troubled by the challenges that currently confront our country. Never has our country had it so bad in the prevailing cycle of bloodletting.
It was, however, not all about condemnation, as the retired general was also quick to point out way out of the Boko Haram menace.
The insecurity problems the country is facing, particularly in the northern state, must involve all of us in search for solutions that endure. We must dispassionately understand the problems so that we will go to the roots of them to rid ourselves of the looming calamities.
The former head of state drops this message for insurgents and politicians ahead of the 2015 general elections.
I will keep calling on all those aggrieved and have resorted to settle its cause with violence to sheathe their swords. As we go through the falls in 2015, I call on our politicians, contestants, and the citizens to please give peace a chance. I have no doubt in my mind that our country will overcome these transient challenges and takes its rightful place in the League of Nations.
Abubakar was in Ekiti State on the invitation of Governor Kayode Fayemi to commission projects including the School of Nursing Administrative Building in Exoth and the Erijinja Water Treatment Plant. Rashid, CoreTV News, Ado Ekiti.
Now, let's have that story now, talking about the Labour Party in Ogun State, which has described as good riddance the defection of the Ondo State Governor Olusegun Mimiko and the alleged defection of the former governor of Ogun State, Gbenga Daniel, to the PDP. Our correspondent Olajumoke Olatuji met with General Secretary of the Labour Party in Ogun State and filed in this report.
The defection of Mimiko, who last week formally dumped the Labour Party for the ruling People's Democratic Party, and that of a former governor of the state, Benga Daniel, is no longer news. Beyond this, the Ogun State chapter of Labour Party appears unmoved by the exit of the two. The General Secretary of the party, Sunday Ogini, says the defection of the two political giants will not in any way affect the party's fortune in the coming election year.
It is good riddance to bad rubbish. So we are happy about it, and that will help us to reposition the party. We have been in litigation for long, battling him that the leadership of the party, according to the constitution, does not belong to him. And now that he has now found solace in going back to PDP, so we are expecting that a lot of people who are interested in the progressive party will come to Labour Party in Ogun State.
Is the party already feeling the heat of Mimiko's defection? Ogini's response was an obvious no, even though he admitted that the postponement of the party's national convention over the grievances some members over Mimiko's defection in Akure, the Ondo state capital, is an avoidable embarrassment.
Yes, on morality ground. I think Akure convention was based on the fact that we have only one governor that has won twice on the platform of the party. And in the Governor Mimiko's personal wisdom, maybe decided that it's going to PDP. I don't think it's not morally right for us as a party to have a convention in Akure. So far, we are not ready to be taken as a trophy to PDP. The Oshoba faction or OGD faction, that is sudden death for them. The promoter of that faction has catapulted and has found himself in PDP.
Political observers, however, insist that the Labour Party may, in the words of its chieftain, unmoved about the exit of the two political giants, but will surely miss the financial support of Mimiko. Olajumoke Olatunji, CoreTV News, Lagos.
The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, has described recent bribery allegations against some of its officials over a gas project in Bayelsa State as a ruse to hoodwink the public. It also encouraged the petitioner to seek redress in court to clear his name. EFCC spokesman Wilson Wujaren said in a statement that media reports on the alleged bribery scandal emanated from a petition filed by one Chidi Adebonya, who is standing trial on charges of obtaining 1.9 billion naira under false pretenses from his former employers. The anti-graft agency claimed that the bribery claim, which was syndicated in many online media, was meant to discredit the suit. It also wondered why it took the petitioner 3 years to go public with an allegation that supposedly took place in 2001. EFCC, however, disclosed that Adebayo allegedly used his position as an interface manager for Shell to extort his employer of 1.9 billion naira through a phony consultancy in connivance with officials of the Bayelsa state government. It added that the deal later cost him his job and led to fraud charges against him. Now, Wednesday witnessed the official resumption of schools in 11 states across the Federation after an extended break following the outbreak of the deadly Ebola virus in the country. The resumption was also delayed in order for the schools to provide the necessary safety precautions. Our correspondent, Omotayalo, visited some public schools in Lagos and filed in this report.
Notwithstanding Nigeria's success at curbing the deadly Ebola virus disease, observation of the necessary preventive measures is key. These pupils who are happy to be back at school say they are more enlightened about the deadly disease and have no reason to be afraid.
The information I had today about Ebola is that I should be washing my hand time by time. I should not play with pets. I should keep myself away from people who have Ebola, or if I see someone having symptoms of Ebola, I should not touch the person. I should go and tell the doctor.
They scanned me and I wash my hands. In order to prevent the spreading of Ebola, I should wash my hands regularly. I could also make use of a sanitizer, and I also learned that I should prevent touching fluids of my classmates or people around me, most especially when I don't know if they're infected or not.
Posters were pasted on walls in strategic positions in the school for continued learning and general enlightenment to the students. The hand-washing exercise was also taken seriously. This pupil, who is not only armed with vital information on what to do when faced with an Ebola patient, also shared this song on Ebola with our crew.
Wash your hands well each day to keep germs away. With soap and water, keep healthy always.
The adherence to personal hygiene was well observed at the schools visited by our crew. Omotayo Alo, CoreTV News, Lagos.
We'll take another break on CoreTV News Hour. We'll be back shortly with stories outside Nigeria. Join us again.
You can now watch CoreTV News live from anywhere in the world on our website, www.coretvnews.com. Click on Live TV on our website and watch us live.
And welcome to CoreTV Primetime Days.
To follow us on Twitter, click on Twitter icon on our website. On Facebook, click on the Facebook and YouTube to see all our previous news production. You can also watch us live on YouTube. Click CoreTV, leave a space, then News. CoreTV News, a 24-hour news station.
Glad to have you back now. Outside Nigeria, Kurdish fighters are engaged in fierce gun battles with Islamic State in the Syrian border town of Kobane as the U.S.-led coalition airstrikes continued. In its latest report, the U.S. Central Command said 6 airstrikes had destroyed ISIS weaponry around Kobane. An official inside Kobane says the Kurdish forces were now pushing back the Islamic State fighters. Seizing Kobane will give the ISIS jihadists full control of a long stretch of the Syrian-Turkish border. This has been a primary route for foreign fighters getting into Syria, as well as allowing ISIS to traffic oil it has captured. 3 weeks of fighting over Kobane has cost the lives of 400 people and forced more than 160,000 Syrians to flee across the border to Turkey. And that's a wrap on CoreTV News at this time. Many thanks for watching. I am Frank Omalape. Up next is Core Digest.